Hello and welcome to glennzb TV, the show that puts glennzb into your virtual headset. Yes, I'm bringing New Zealand to the world and the world to New Zealand. And we've got a warning that raising the levy on landfills will lead to more rubbish being dumped illegally, basically making it more expensive to throw the rubbish away. I think the theory is that if it's too expensive to throw your rubbish away, you just won't make it. You won't. How do you do that? How do you have less rubbish? I don't know. I don't. Well, I mean, obviously, what I've done to reduce waste on this show, for example, is I've got this awesome thing here, so I don't have to hold up these, and then I don't have to, throw these away. I mean, obviously, I put these directly into the paper recycling and don't put them into a rubbish bin, obviously. But even so, that's all. And so now I don't have to have these anymore because I've got this, so that works out well. It turns out that one of the most densely populated cities in the world is also the fastest sinking. Jakarta, which is Indonesia's capital, could be almost entirely submerged by the year 2050. I'm not sure whether we should lay down the challenge and see if we can sink a bit faster, see if we can wrest that mantle from them. Seems like they're skiting about it. They're sinking faster than anybody else. So let's cross live to Jakarta now and see what's going on there. Okay, it might be happening even faster than we had first thought. Royal news. You know what a massive fan of the royals I am. In Britain, Princess Eugenie's big day is fast approaching. She's best young. Is it Eugenie or Eugenie? Because we've got a Eugenie Sage here. On the anyway, I never know. She's anyway. This particular Eugenie is best known for her unusual hat choices, and she's getting married on October 12. So we're just wondering what hat she's going to wear. And I sort of had forgotten that she's a crazy hat wearer, and so I did a little bit of a retrospect. I mean, that one's all right. It's crooked, but that's not too crazy. She looks a bit crazy. The eyes are sort of. This is what happens when you wear a hat over one eye. That pupil dilates more than that pupil there, so that makes her look a little bit weird. That one, you're getting slightly crazy. That looks like she's trying to get some kind of satellite television reception going on there. And then we've got these three. That's very similar to the black one, just in green. I like that because it's red. I don't know what's going on there. They're not wrong. She does love a crazy hat. That one's too small. Way too small. What's keeping that on? They staple gun that one on? And then it wasn't until I got to this one that now I remember what we're talking about. Because that's not really a hat at all, is it? Well, I don't know what that is. Mind you, who am I to talk about how to make your head look, eh? Finally, though, I do feel like I have some expert advice on this situation here. Apparently, murders and foul play could be missed because the forensic pathology service is at risk of collapse. The seriousness of the current situation cannot be overstated, says some guy. Apparently, there's all sorts of problems, and basically your CSI team, there's not enough of those sorts of people being trained and knowing what they're doing. And I do wonder if the whole forensic pathology thing, how necessary it really is, because in my experience what you do is you go around interviewing a whole lot of people who are suspects, and the first person you thought was guilty isn't guilty. They are never guilty, even though you might come back to them and they might even look more guilty than they initially looked. It's definitely not them. The second person usually appears to have nothing to do with the case whatsoever. And then you move on to some people who don't initially look guilty, but you then come around to thinking that they probably are guilty. And then you go back, that's about when you go back to that first person who you initially thought was guilty. But in actual fact, it ends up being that second person you talked to who you didn't even really consider to be a suspect. So what I'm saying is you don't actually need any forensic evidence. Just put that second person who initially didn't look like they had anything to do with the case, put them in prison straight away because they did it. And it's science that I learned from those guys. That's what happens every single episode. And yet I still watch. And I'm always surprised when it turns out to be the person who I thought didn't really have anything to do with the case. Brilliant TV. How did they do it? This was Brilliant TV. This was glennzb TV. Thank you so much for having it in your virtual headset. See you back here again with more surprise endings tomorrow.